Hey guys, today we're going to finish up the characteristics of life, and I decided that this topic of homeostasis deserves its own presentation because it probably is the hardest one for students to master. I've seen this over the years. Students frequently get confused or a little intimidated, to be honest, about this word homeostasis. So, what does homeostasis mean? What are biologists or science teachers talking about when they talk about maintaining homeostasis as a characteristic of life? All right, so this is the word we're focusing on. So homeostasis looks complicated, but it really isn't. There are a lot of things about your everyday lives that you can apply to this that make it make sense. Okay, so homeostasis basically means keeping what you have on the inside of your body or your cell different in some way from what's on the outside. Now, biologists frequently talk about outside. That means environment. And inside means inside the body or inside the cell. So homeostasis, at its simplest, is about the difference between what is on the inside versus what is on the outside. Okay? Now, homeostasis also can mean maintaining some type of balance or some type of condition on the inside that's different from the outside. So you may get questions or you may read things that are talking about homeostasis in terms of keeping something in balance. And that can be right most of the time, but it's not right all of the time. So I'm going to try to address that with some examples in a few slides coming after this one. Okay, so let's do our first example. You probably already realized that humans keep their body temperature at about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That means that if you took the temperature of yourself in the morning when you're in bed, at noon when you're at school in the lunchroom, and maybe in the afternoon when you're outside in December, and even if you're warm or hot or cold on the outside, your body temperature will stay really close to 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is an example of maintaining homeostasis, maintaining a body temperature. Okay? Humans also maintain an internal balance of liquids, especially water. So if your body is low in water, you get thirsty, and if your body is carrying too much water, your kidneys will switch on and you'll make more urine, so you'll have to urinate. And a third example is your heart rate. Now, heart rate is not something that stays the same or balanced. So this is a case where homeostasis does not mean keeping something the same. Your heart rate, or how fast your heart is beating, can speed up or slow down depending on what your body needs to do. So if you need to exercise and work hard, your heart is going to speed up. But if you're resting or sitting or just relaxing, your heart rate is going to slow down. So I hope you can see from this first slide that homeostasis doesn't necessarily mean keeping something balanced. It means keeping something steady or different on the inside versus the outside. So body temperature and the amount of water in your body, they are kept balanced, but your heart rate is something that does change depending on need. Okay, so let's look at this in a little bit more detail. So here I've set up 4 columns. The first column is going to be our example. The second column is going to be an example of a stimulus, then a response, and then finally, what is the homeostasis result of all of this? Okay, so we're going to break it down so you can see, if you follow along, how homeostasis is being maintained. And we're going to use humans as an example here. Okay, so we talked in the earlier slide about your body temperature and how human bodies are maintained at a homeostatic or a homeostasis temperature of about 98.6 degrees. So let's stimulate the body. Okay, let's say that it's cold outside and your body is now outside. Okay, that means your response is going to be to shiver, and everybody's probably experienced this. What happens when you shiver is your body is causing your muscles to contract and relax very quickly to generate heat, literally by friction. So When your body feels itself getting colder and your temperature is going down, your body will respond by generating shivers, which cause your body to warm up again. Now, what if the stimulus was just the opposite? What if it's hot outside? Okay. Now, you don't want to shiver when it's hot because that's just going to make you warmer. So we have a different response here. The response here would be to sweat. And when your body produces sweat, the sweat evaporates from your skin and cools you off. So it's bringing your temperature down. So as you can see here, we've got two different stimuli. One is causing your body to increase temperature, and one is causing your body to decrease its temperature. The result of this, of these two things working together, is that your body can maintain a body temperature of about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, of course, there are other responses. If you're cold, you may put on a coat. If you're hot, you may take off the coat. But these are two biological responses, okay? The response of shivering and the response of sweating. These are two things that your body is doing to maintain a homeostatic body temperature. Okay, so temperature control is our first example of homeostasis. Let's do another one. As you can see, this is the exact same setup. We're going to look at a different example here. This time we're going to look at your water homeostasis. So how much water is on the inside of your body. Okay, so let's say for our first stimulus that your body is dehydrated. Okay, you're working out, it's hot, you're sweating a lot, maybe you're sweating to keep cool, and your body is losing water. Okay, now its response is going to be to make you thirsty. So how that happens is your brain detects the reduced water content of your blood, and it generates this feeling of thirst. And you say, wow, I need to go get a drink. I need to drink some more water because I feel like I'm getting dehydrated. Now, interestingly, you can be dehydrated and not notice it because you're not hot. So a lot of times people, especially older people, will forget to drink water and they'll walk around most days slightly dehydrated. So that's why you always hear doctors saying, drink plenty of water. It's just one of those things that generally makes your body work better everywhere. Okay, now let's do a different stimulus. What if you drink a whole bunch of water? You come home from school, you're hot, the walk home or the bus ride home or the ride home was really, really hot. You get home, you're thirsty, and you drink one of those big 64-ounce big gulps of a drink, okay, which is mostly water. Okay, now obviously the result here is the response here is going to be that your body needs to get rid of some of this extra water, and it's going to do that by increasing your urine output. Okay, so these are common sense. You know that when you get hot and dehydrated, you get thirsty. And when you drink a lot of whatever, you're probably going to have to get rid of it later on. So the result of all this is that your body stays hydrated at the correct level. Okay, so that's the connection between hydration and homeostasis. It's keeping things balanced. Okay, so if you've ever seen that thing at a playground where you know one side can go up and one side can go down. Oops. Didn't mean to get out of that. Erased it. All right. Forget about that. We'll come back to that later. So actually, we won't come back to it later. I'm just going to keep moving forward. All right. So I think you guys get the idea. From this slide, we want you to understand the connection between your body keeping its water levels or its hydration levels balanced with this concept of homeostasis. Okay. So that's a good solid second example. All right. Now let's do a third one. 3 is always a good number, so we need 3 examples. So let's do a third one. Same setup. Remember we talked earlier about heart rate. Okay, this is how fast your heart is beating. You can actually measure your heart rate by taking your pulse. You put your finger on your wrist right below your thumb, and if you're careful, you can feel your heart rate. You can also feel it in your neck. Okay, up in your neck, you have 2 really big blood vessels that are going from your heart up into your brain, and you can feel them on either side. Sometimes if someone's asleep and they're laying, you can actually see their neck pulsating. It's the carotid artery, which is what the vampires always go for. All right. So let's look at heart rate. So let's do a stimulus here. Let's say that you're exercising. Okay. Now, most of you, I'm hoping, are probably thinking, oh, wow, exercise, my heart rate's going to go up. So that's probably what it's going to say. Let's see. Yes. So heart rate goes up with exercise. That's the response. Okay, what if you're asleep? What if you're sleeping? Okay, so if you're sleeping, makes sense that your heart rate's going to go down. Heart rate's going to decrease. Okay, heart rate's going to slow down. The result is the same. No matter what you're doing, whether you're exercising or sleeping, your body is going to maintain the right supply of food and oxygen to your muscles, which is what your blood is doing and which is why your heart has to beat. So the reason why your heart speeds up is your muscles are screaming, hey, I need more food. Hey, I need more oxygen. Get more to me. I need to be supplied. That makes your heart rate go up. But when you're sleeping, your body conserves energy, slows your heart down because your muscles aren't working and they don't need the extra food or the extra oxygen. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. 3 good examples of homeostasis. Okay, one supplies your muscles with the extra energy they need. The other response is conserving energy. So heart rate is an example of where homeostasis isn't about a balance. Okay, it's about a proper response. Okay, so we're going to add that to our list, which we started in a previous video or previous slideshow, and we were up to number 8. So now we've added maintaining homeostasis or maintain homeostasis as number 9. So we have completed our list. So if we go back and review, all living things must get energy, they must respond to their environment, they must get rid of waste. Now, number 3, getting rid of waste, and number 1, okay, those are both aspects of metabolism. So that's why I put that word in parentheses after each one of those. Okay, number 4, all living things must reproduce as part of a population. So just remember, reproduction is the one that's a little different. Not everybody has to reproduce. Somebody does though, so extinction doesn't happen. Number 5, growth and development. All living things grow as they gain biomass. Some living things with more than one cell, for example, humans and trees and dogs and cats, they develop. For example, puberty. Humans go through a developmental phase we call puberty, which is part of our growth and development. Number 6, all living things pass along genetic traits using a molecule called DNA. If you guys remember, number 6 can be expressed as heredity. Heredity. Okay, all living things have heredity or this ability to pass on traits to the next generation. Okay, and number 7, populations of living things or species of living things change over time as they adapt to their environment. Think about the dinosaurs. They were not able to adapt or evolve quick enough to survive that cataclysm, that major disruption of Earth's ecosystems when that meteor struck about 66 million years ago. Number 8, all living things are built from cells, which means they have to have at least one cell. Humans have billions of cells arranged as tissues and organs and body parts, but something like an E. coli bacterium only has one cell. But remember, bacteria are just as alive as humans are. And finally, number 9, the concept that we just went through, the idea of maintaining some type of inside environment that's different from the outside environment. And that might be body temperature, that might be how wet or how much water you have, or it may be how fast or how slow a certain body system is working. But all of these things together give us our list of the characteristics of living things. So all living things have to do all of these processes or have all of these features. If you're missing one of them, something's wrong, okay? Now, we're going to explore in class some things in the world that people once thought were alive, but we now know are not alive. And you may be able to think of some new tech, like artificial intelligence, like robots and stuff like that, where computers or machines can actually appear to be so much alive that people can't tell a robot from a real human. Okay, these are all really interesting questions, but for this class, this is our list. This is the list of what you have to have or be able to do to be considered a living thing. Thank you guys, and we're going to stop there.